Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, participants. So the opposite team will not be joining. They withdrew in the last minute. So we'll go ahead with the pleadings of just this one team. So, ma'am, with your permission, shall we start?
Yes, please begin.
Okay.
Can I have just 1 minute?
Yeah, please.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Shall I?
Yeah, please begin.
1 second. Let me just lay down some rules.
Okay, sure.
Good morning to everybody present here. Welcome to the second National Virtual Moot Court Competition organized by Thomas George and Associates. My name is Neha Kapoor. I'm your courtroom officer for the preliminary round. Before we begin, I would like to introduce the judge for today's round, Ms. Deepa Rai. Ma'am is a transaction lawyer practicing since 2015 with major focus of service in areas of transactional, regulatory, and general corporate advice to domestic as well as foreign clients. She also advises on private equity funds, their portfolio companies, MNCs, and many other global and regional investment managers on their investments and M&A transactions, minority investments, joint ventures, and restructuring. She also regularly advises on private equity and venture capital deals, acting on both buying and selling in sectors ranging from e-commerce, healthcare, renewable energy, telecom to BFSI. Ma'am, we are delighted to have you on board today and express my thanks for taking out time to judge this round. Before we begin, I would like to lay down a few rules. Each speaker shall have a time limit of maximum 15 minutes. Rebuttals and surrebuttals for 2 minutes, that is 1 minute each. The speaker can yield their time to the second speaker if they are done. Extra time may be granted on the judge's discretion. Judges on their discretion are free to give the feedback after the speakers are done with their rounds. A placard will be displayed for each speaker when there are 3 minutes remaining, 1 minute remaining, and when the time is up. Ma'am, with your permission, we can begin this round.
Hello. Sorry, I got disconnected for some reason.
Ma'am, you are audible now.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead. Sorry, Neha, you were saying the rules.
Yes, ma'am. Shall we begin now?
Yes, please, let's start.
All right. I'm starting the time. You
Yep,
can begin.
please, go ahead.
A very good morning to everyone. Council seeks permission to address Honorable Judge as your ladyship.
Yes, please go ahead.
Much obliged, your ladyship. May it pleases the court, my name is Ashutosh Yadav, along with my co-counsel, Mr. Kanishk Mishra. We are representing petitioner at the Honorable Supreme Court of Replaminato by the virtue of Article 139A of the Constitution. If your ladyship is well versed with the facts of this case, counsel seeks permission to proceed with the arguments advanced. Or shall I brief the case, ma'am?
No, counsel, can you please brief me on the facts?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. No issues. So, ma'am, the Republic of Replaminato is here, which is here one of the largest democracies of the world. Its demography is very much similar to the Union of India, as well as laws are paramateria to the laws of India. Replaminato is also a part of International Nations Organization, of which almost every nation and the developing countries are part of. But Replaminato also condemned for the English laws of the LGBTQIA plus community by the member of the International Organization states. Later on, Replaminato comes up with the laws decriminalizing homosexual acts under section IPC 377. Also, right to privacy also adjudged by the Supreme Court of Replaminato in one of its landmark judgments. But your ladyship, the Supreme Court of Replaminato forget to discuss one major issues, that is the civil rights as well as basic human rights and the right to marry of the LGBTQIA plus community members. So here we are, the Rainbow non-profit organization, coming up with the petition at the Honorable Supreme Court of Replaminato, bringing all those issues into the consideration. With all due permission of your ladyship, council seeks permission to proceed with the issues.
You can proceed, Council. Go.
Much obliged, your ladyship. Your ladyship, I am covering issues 1 and 4 of the pertaining case, whereas my co-counsel, Mr. Kanish Mishra, is dealing with the issue 2 and 3 of the pertaining case. Your lordship, now I take all your permission to proceed with the issue 1, that is, whether or not the Hindu Marriage Act 1955 and Special Marriage Act 1954 can be read in manner to include members from the LGBTQI plus community. In this pertaining issue, petitioner argues and firmly believes that member from the LGBTQI community can definitely be added and the act can be read in that manner too. Your ladyship, kindly see the section 5 of the Hindu Marriage Act. Doesn't use specific terms such as male and female. Thus, homosexuals can be very well incorporated into that. The act mentions a marriage may be solemnized between any two individual or any two Hindus, to be more precise. So if the LGBTQI members are just Hindus, that's more than enough to marry under the Hindu Marriage Act. Your ladyship, the act doesn't nowhere expressly says marriage can only be solemnized between two individuals of opposite gender. Your ladyship, all the criteria for the marriage under Hindu Marriage Act is defined under section 2 of the Hindu Marriage Act, and it is really very clear that LGBTQIA plus members can marry into that. Your ladyship.
Sorry, Council. Can you tell me what are these criteria for marriage under Hindu Marriage Act?
Much obliged, your ladyship. Under Hindu Marriage Act, if you need to marry, you should be first of all Hindus. Okay, you should not be into the prohibited relationships such as sapindas. You have attained the age, and also the spouse is capable of procreation of the child. Regarding the procreation of the child, the next argument deals with that also.
Okay, but Council, how do you just can you tell me the year when Hindu Marriage Act was enacted?
Yes, your lordship. It is 1955, your lordship.
1955, right? So do you think in 1955 the legislatures really had or anyone around this lawmaking forum or anyone around the country had any had any inclination or had any thought about same-sex marriage? Wasn't it a taboo in any case, and wasn't marriage only looked as an opposite gender marriage? Why do you think same also? I mean, why do you think only because it's person it should include same-sex marriage as well? Because that particular thought was never really incubated at that point of time. So how are we saying that just by a mere usage of person, which could just be a normal, which could not be a loophole sort of thing in the law, but not the intent of the legislature be justified to kind of propagate or kind of agree or confirm such a huge thing, which is the same-sex marriage or same-sex relationship, whatever.
Much obliged, your ladyship. Your ladyship, laws and religion are both something which is need to be evolved with the time. And when it's come to the intent of the legislation, your lordship, we can kindly see that that Republic of Replaminato is part of international organizations also, and it is one of the developing countries also. So it is somehow dependent upon the already developed nation, and it is clearly written in our problem statement that highly condemned, like we are highly condemned of because of our Anglican laws, that because of our Anglic laws, we are highly condemned by those nations on which we are dependent. So if it is not even the intent of the legislation, this is the high time when our legislatures should think about it. When our judiciary, where in our statute it says the loophole is there, we should fill that loophole. Even in the India Young Lawyers Association versus Union of India, it is same thing is there, that we known as Sabrimala case. It is clearly written that there is the custom and religion never allows to allow women entry into the Sabrimala temple, but it is the demand of the time. It is the demand and it is the right of the people. So it has changed with the time. And even if we see the Nas Foundation case, if we see the Navteej Singh Johar case, if we see the Shakti Vahini case, in each and every cases, we've seen that the laws and as well as religion evolved with the time. Whenever the society, whenever the time called out the laws as well as our religion, they got evolved. So, with all due permission of your leadership, I will take permission to proceed with my further arguments.
Sure, proceed, Counselor.
Much obliged, your ladyship. Your ladyship, before moving further in this, I would like to draw Honorable Court attention to the major principle pronounced by Justice Swaminathan in the case of Nalsa versus Union of India, where it is said that sex is not the same as gender, both are different. Gender identity falls within the scope of person's autonomy and involves his right to privacy and dignity. It is not up to the state authorities to question the choice of petitioner here. Any discrimination on the basis of gender is strictly prohibited under the Article 14 of the Indian Constitution. Your ladyship, while filing this petition, as well as while taking this issue into the cognizance, petitioner are very well aware of the Section 5 Clause B of the Hindu Marriage Act, which talks about the procreation of the child as a mandatory criteria. Your ladyship, to address this particular issue, I would like to request you kindly see the report of American Psychological Association, which is even referred by UDHR as well as by the Supreme Court of America in the Obergefell versus Hodges case, which allows same-sex marriages in the United States of America, and granted right to choice of marriage as a basic human right into the UDHR convention. In the page number 7 of the report, it is defined that homosexuals are not anyways different from the heterosexual after the clinical test. Right to have sex or intimate relationships is person's own choice, and homosexual activities has been already decriminalized. And about the procreation of the child, there are numerous ways through which transgender can produce a child, whether it is IVF, sperm donors, test tube, and it's even seen in that report too. Also, your ladyship, adoption can be done to live a happy life. Sorry, your ladyship. Happy relationship. To live a happy life, because in a happy relationship, all what matters is crossing the social hindrances and accepting what you are. Also, the reasonable and the possible changes can be done into the act, as it is done in the case of Nas Foundation versus Government and City of Delhi. Also, it is said in the case of Olga.
Sorry, Count. Hello.
Yeah, ma'am, you are audible, but your video got glitched for me.
Okay. No, sorry, I have one question. Can you said adoption can be a way of procreation, but can same-sex people as a mother and father adopt a child in India?
Indeed, your lordship, that's what we are contending here. The changes in the civil laws, the changes in the adoption laws, the changes in the Marriage Act, and we are trying after this petition, like as in previous cases, the lot of loopholes have been left. In this petition, we are trying to cover each and every aspect, and that's what we bring. Because if we bring a change, we can definitely see what are the difficulties they face when the marriages have been allowed. They also and this is the statement, your lordship, which is even considered after the statements coming out of the news after the Arundhati Katju and Menka Guruswamy statement come after their decision. And your ladyship, the adoption should be like in that way, because the adopted child is what he deserves is the love. irrespective of the gender of their parents. He deserves well nourishment. He deserves love, and he deserves the best of the parents can give. So irrespective of that, your ladyship, it is an honest try of the petitioner to bring this aspect into the consideration too.
Understood, Council. Go ahead.
Much obliged, your ladyship. Also, the reasonable and the possible changes can be done into the act as it is done in the NAS Foundation versus Government and City of Delhi. Also, it is ruled in the case of Olga Tellis versus Bombay Municipal Corporation, which says right to life doesn't mean, but it also means a quality of life, which also includes right to marry too. Also, about the Special Marriage Act, members from the LGBTQIA plus community can be incorporated under Special Marriage Act 1954 through Section 4 clearly encompasses heterosexual couples, but it doesn't mean they cannot incorporate members from the LGBTQI community. Because in Special Marriage Act, male and female has been clearly written along with their ages, which means if a person has been brought up as a male, in that case, he should be married at the age of 21. And for female, that age limit is 18. It is nowhere says that male cannot marry a male and a female cannot marry a female. Also, if such discrimination is happening, it is violative of Article 15, which prohibits 15, which prohibits discrimination on the basis of equality, which also laid down in the case of NAS Foundation as well as in the case of Navdeep Singh Johar versus Union of India. Your ladyship, in the case of Shakti Vahini versus Union of India, the Honorable Supreme Court also held that right to choose a partner as a fundamental right. Also, before deciding upon the pertaining issue, I would like to request your ladyship to kindly consider the judgment of our referred case, that is Shafeen Jahan versus Ashokan, where it is said that right to marry as a fundamental right. Also, if transgender are supposed to have sex and have relations.
Sorry, Council, just to interrupt. What were the facts of this case where they said marriage is fundamental? I mean, right to choose a partner is fundamental, right?
Much obliged, your ladyship. So basically, in the facts of that particular case, is the honor killing is initially there, the major issue that is taken into the consideration, and there the party is condemning that whether first of all the person have a right to choose religion after their marriage, because this issue can be very well taken into the consideration, because if true transgenders are marrying with each other under Special Marriage Act, what the religion they are exactly going to follow. So here comes they have a fundamental right to choose their own religion. And second thing that taken into the consideration is right to marry. Your ladyship, if your ladyship, if right to marry is also prohibited, like in heterosexual couples, a male can marry a female from other religion. Same goes to transgender also, because if fundamentals are right are there to the one gender, it should be given to the another gender under the section Article 14 of the Indian Constitution. Much obliged, your ladyship. Shall I proceed?
But council, that particular aspect is to choose a religion. Do you think is the council of the opinion that a religion and sexuality of it's okay, Neha, the time can be extended. So do you believe that religion and sexuality of a person, okay, is something which is which I mean, we do have straightforward laws about, but do you think it can, aren't you confusing religion with sexuality? It's a different thing, because India is super religious. India has so many other religions, but unfortunately India, I mean, at the end of the day,
your ladyship, your voice really not audible.
Judgment. Absolutely understand that religion. One second. Can others hear me, or is it my connection?
Ma'am, it is written that bandwidth is really very low, but I got your question, ma'am. I heard first part of the question, and this middle one is missing.
Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yeah, ma'am, now it is better.
Now better? Sorry, I was connected on some different Wi-Fi.
Ma'am, I got
Okay,
your
so
question.
the point is,
Ma'am,
yeah,
I got it. Because at the last two, three statements are muggled up. Baki, it's clear to me.
yeah,
So, ma'am, as
yeah,
you said that I am interplaying with the terms that is religion and the sexuality. So, ma'am,
yeah.
this is your ladyship. This is something which is need to be evolved parallelly, ma'am. As it is clear, it is clearly seen in the case of Sabrimala, that is Young Lawyers Association versus Union of India. There also the same contention is there. At one, there is the sexuality is there, the gender, the female's gender right is there. On the other hand, the religious aspect is there, but both should be taken parallelly to take into the consideration. Your ladyship, same goes here. It is previously held that this is the third gender of our society, third gender in the case of NAS Foundation versus Union of India. And your ladyship, in the Article 14, the term gender, it clearly says there is no even a single discrimination can be done on the basis of gender. Your ladyship, as I am running out of the time and the room
Go
master
ahead,
has
go ahead.
already taken me, council seeks 5 more minutes to proceed with this fourth issue. So my co-counsel
Sure,
wish,
sure, Council. Sure,
because ma'am,
Council. Go ahead.
your ladyship network issues are there. Much obliged, your ladyship.
No worries.
So, your ladyship, now I would like permission to proceed with the issue 4. That is, whether or not member from the said community can be allowed to be married as per the rituals of their respective religions. Your ladyship, Supreme Court has held that right to marry as a fundamental right. Collective readings of the case of Olga Tellis, NAS Foundation, Shakti Vahini, Madras High Court before Suresh Kaushal, if collectively read are in that manner, is enough to conclude that right to marry is a fundamental right under Article 14 and can be taken tacit recognition of same-sex marriages in India. Your ladyship, also in the case of Young Lawyers Association versus Union of India, it is already seen that customs and rituals need to be evolved with the time, where the Ayyappa's worship is tradition for a long, but it has also got evolved with the need of time. Your leadership, the interpretation of preamble clearly says, it's my country, accept me the way I am. The differentiation of the basis of gender, caste, creed, where the gender has been already defined in the case of NAS Foundation versus Union of India, shall be strongly condemned by the Justice Kurian Joseph in their previous judgments. Also, your leadership, to just to bring to the context of the great revolution, that is French Revolution, and the biggest ideological warfare of the world, the concept of fraternity evolves, which talk about the dignity of an individual, that evolved, and which says that people are those who constitutes the country and their dignity shall never be compromised. Your ladyship, it is proved by the petitioner previously in the first issues that the members from the LGBTQIA plus community can definitely be added into the Hindu Marriage Act as well as in Special Marriage Act. But not even in this, but in Christian custom laws, also homosexuality is nowhere has been said as a sin and being condemned. And even it is said that Bible's interpretation should change with the concern of the Christians to whom the Bibles is God's, were very written word. It is widely understood that God produced its content through inspired humans author to tell the stories of God's creation. And the beauty is that the time that those things should be evolved with the time. How sin entered the world and the redemption that is found through Jesus Christ, his salvation. Your ladyship, even in the Muslim laws, homosexuality is never been criticized. With over a billion followers, in Islam is the second religion in the world and noted for diversity of cultural and authenticity. Founded by the Prophet Muhammad in 1622 CE, Islam is Afi Abrahamic religion that shared the root with Judaism and the Christianity. Recognizes Jesus as a prophets. Its sacred texts are the Quran, and secondary sources are found in the cultural practice, such as interpreted by both scholars and faithfuls. In that also, there has never been contradiction to the LGBTQIA community, because whenever these religious texts were written, there is no calculation that any such issues will comes up with the time. Also, your ladyship, just to bring to the context, my co-counsel will deal with the great issues such as the issue of Arthashastra, Mahabharata, Kama Sutra. This is the great Indian text which is considered as our religious scriptures. There is even the mentioning of the LGBTQIA plus community. So if the ambiguity is there itself in the religion, why we are not taking that the religions and the laws both are need to be evolved with the time? Your lordship, therefore, your lordship, after ladyship, after considering all the arguments raised and the judgment cited by the petitioner, kindly may please consider that members from the LGBTQIA community can be married as per the rituals of their respective religions. Much obliged, your ladyship. Now I may call
Thank
my
you, counsel.
co-counsel, Mr. Kanishk Mishra, to proceed with the second and third. Over to you, Kanishk.
Sure.
Is my voice audible?
Yes, Kanish. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Honorary greetings to the bench. Your Ladyship, may it please the court. This is the counsel on behalf of the petitioner, raising to continue submissions on issues 2 and 3, articulated from pages 14 to 16 of the memorial. Your Ladyship, the counsel seeks permission to proceed with the arguments advanced.
Proceed, counsel.
Much obliged, Your Ladyship. Your Ladyship, the second issue that is being raised here before this court is whether or not civil rights, which are a part of the basic human rights, should be granted to the LGBT community or not. Your Ladyship, it is submitted that civil rights are a part of, have been called to be a part of the international human rights according to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in Charter 1948. Which was instituted by United Nations, of which this very republic has been a long-term member of. Your Ladyship is submitted that the Union of India, the laws of which are in peri materia with the Republic of Reprimento, has given to its citizens in its constitution certain rights, which are fundamental rights to ensure the sustainment of its democracy and to ensure the citizens equality, right to freedom, right to equality, and right to life with dignity. Your Ladyship, upon a reading of the Article 14 of the Constitution of India, it is where it is explicitly mentioned that the state cannot deny to any person equality before law or equal protection of law within the territory of India. And it has even been protected by the Constitution in the basic structure of the Constitution, and therefore cannot be altered. If we move further to the reading of Article 15, Clause 1 of the Constitution, we see that Constitution lawmakers have explicitly written that the state cannot discriminate against any citizen on grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth, or any of them. Your Ladyship, it is by virtue of Articles 14th and 15th article to the Indian Constitution that these rights are protected for every Indian citizen. Even Article 14, which applies to non-citizens as well, is a very glorious feature of our of our fundamental rights. Your Ladyship, it is also submitted.
But counsel, sorry if I may interrupt, counsel. I agree with your point that the Constitution says that there cannot be discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, and sex, but at the same time, the Constitution also allows the state the power to uphold anything which is not giving, which is basically disrupting any public decency, morality, or the peace in general. So how does the council justify the fact that a same-sex marriage is a same-sex marriage and LGBTQ relationship or marriage in India on today's date is not something which is accepted by the community, which is accepted by their own. So how as a constitution, when the entire when as an entire country is opposed to something, like it's something which is not really been have a precedent, has a precedent under constitution. How does the council justify for this bench to oversight the fact that peace and morality has to be maintained in at all situations?
Much obliged, Your Leadership. Your Leadership, it would be, I would like to humbly disagree with one aspect of the point that these LGBTQ rights and the LGBT community are constituted into something can be called into something immoral or indecent. Your Lordship, if as my co-counsel has already explained in detail how these LGBT communities have people gained consciousness of these communities being acceptable, and they are not something which have been stereotypically discarded by the country for so long. It is now that the times it is now that the cultures and customs have evolved, and it is now that people have grown more accustomed to grown more pardon me grown more conscious to these communities and towards their more liberal thought. It is also like my co-counsel cited about the American Medical Association report, which is explicitly it has been mentioned in that these communities are not there is the homosexuality or LGBTQ communities are not something which is can be defined into mental illness or anything. It is which was a very big stereotype that contributed to this mentality that it was in your leadership, it was indecent and immoral. It is whenever when this when the world started seeing that this is not a mental illness and these people are just very similar to heterosexual people and they deserve the same right, the question of indecency and immorality again fades away. Your leadership, if I would again like to refer to this Article 14 of the Indian Constitution, where there's a very special feature of this Article 14 of the Constitution. If I may have the permission to read this article. Your
Go
leadership,
ahead, Kanchi.
yes, your leadership, it is stated that in Article 14, equality before law, the state shall not deny to any person equality before law or equal protection of laws within the territory of India. Your leadership, this particular provision, it says that equality of law should be given to every citizen. Now, although there are circumstances where it is stated that these rights are not absolute, but the basis on which these rights can be suspended, it has to be seen. It merely indecency or immorality, which are not very clear and comprehensive definitions, cannot be cannot be instituted into this idea of LGBTQ community, and therefore they cannot be called as indecent and immoral in the eyes of law. Your leadership.
Understood, Kanchi. Proceed.
Okay, much obliged, Your leadership. It is further submitted that these rights are not only guaranteed by the Constitution, but they have also been explicitly mentioned in the Article 2 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which, by the way, this republic has been a very active supporter of and has conforms to its principles and ideas of the international nations organizations and which is the United Nations, basically. Your leadership, Article 2 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights reads as, everyone is entitled to all rights and freedoms as set forth in this declaration without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, nationality, etc. So if we see, so there is a similarity between the fundamentals laid down in the Constitution of India and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which this republic also is a member of United Nations, and this obviously it is also obliged to conform to the principles of the basic structure of the Constitution. Your leadership, the republic, since it obviously conforms to the values and principles of the charter, and the fact that principles and rights are also provided in the Constitution and are protected by protected by the republic for the citizens of the country, it is submitted that the state cannot restrict certain groups or citizens or community to the access of such basic fundamental rights merely on the basis of their sexuality, merely on the basis of their sexual inclination or gender identity. These cannot be the basis of restricting certain group of citizens to the access of the very basic fundamental rights. In leadership, the civil rights, as I previously stated, come under the ambit of human rights. Human rights are very basic rights which should be granted to every citizen all around the world. Your leadership, If such discrimination is done, it will be in violation of the Constitution, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and more importantly, the very fundamental of human rights that this democratic republic strives to give to its people. Your leadership, it is important to bring to notice that fundamental rights cannot be infringed merely on the basis of sexuality, or merely on the basis of gender discrimination of any community, and it cannot form the basis of not providing this community basic civil rights. Rishabh, with this, I'd like to, in conclusion, I would say that there
Council,
one more
just
point.
one thing. Sorry,
Yes.
Council, just one thing before you move ahead. Don't you think civil rights ultimately is protection of that person guaranteed by the state, right? Now, tomorrow, if I am openly saying that I'm gay, right? I might be exercising my civil rights, but ultimately I can only exercise it to the extent. I mean, isn't the genesis that there'll be hatred among the people for that particular person? Doesn't that in a way protecting? Isn't that in a way protecting the very person against this hatred tomorrow? I mean, as much as the state would like to give any person the liberty to have a same-sex marriage, but the state is also aware of how the same-sex marriage in a country like India may entail. So tomorrow, if I declare this as a civil right, ultimately I might be making that particular set, minority set of people, an agenda, a target from the other majority set of people. And how do we defend that, council? I mean, I'm with you in this case that okay, civil rights should be granted, but I cannot protect every minority section, personally. So, I mean, isn't it for a greater good that this not be, that same-sex marriage not be legalized and the civil rights not be, provided under the constitution?
Uh, Your Leadership, I'd like to raise just two points in this answer. That the first being that even though these rights could, in some sense, as far as I've understood the question, is these rights, if these laws are implemented, it could, in some sense, make such communities a target and could be harmful. But it merely on the presumption that these laws, this legislation would in some future cause some kind of danger, would be misused in some manner, cannot be the basis of the judgment, cannot be the basis to not give these not give this community a very fundamental civil rights, which are very basic human rights. And yeah, the second part, your leadership, if we see that although same-sex marriages should be granted, is the provision. The second point is that the right of a person, as my co-counsel has stated, the right of the judgment of this very honorable court, that the right for a person to be married to any person of his choice, and the right to not be discriminated, the right to equality, the right to life with dignity. These provisions. These kind of provisions outweigh the minute possibility that in some future some kind of misuse of this provision could happen, and could some of these communities may be targeted in future. These principles are the basic structures of the constitution, and this would not underlie in the should be given much priority in granting these community the very basic civil rights. Your Lordship.
Agreed, council, but then it's opening a Pandora of boxes, right? Just to protect, I mean, as a state, am I to protect the minority interest or the majority interest? When I protect the minority interest in one instance, it'll open a Pandora's box. Where first I have to, okay, if I'm allowing same-sex marriage, then I have to have an institutionalized law. I have to have, regulations in place to kind of monitor that sort of minority group. So I mean, and at the end of the day, we all have laws and legislations in place But what really matters from a judicial point of view, council, is that how effectively is that law and the procedures implemented, right? And do you think that at the end of the day, if we do legalize this, if we do give the civil right, do you think that the this sector will be protected, that the state and that the forces, that the judicial and government forces in India will be able to protect the minority, this particular sector of the society?
Uh, Leadership, I think indeed it will be the government of India. See, like as far as I've understood the question, we are talking about if this same-sex marriages are implemented, then we need to create. There is this perception that we need to create a different institution for such marriages, and could these be further smoothly run, and wouldn't there be problems in such an institution, and wouldn't this be a completely different kind of setup than the present one? Your Lordship, if this is a question as far as I've understood, I'd like to answer that as far as this institution is considered, only the council is only praying for the council is only praying that these that the persons, that the term the already existing institutions like the Hindu Marriage Act, the Special Marriage Act, the Muslim personal laws, the Christian personal laws, be amended in some manner so as to include the same-sex marriages. And although some amendments and some readings of the word need to be done in order to provide them better framework. But Your Lordship, one more thing I'd like to point out is that for approximately 100, 200, approximately 150 years, this LGBT community was went unnoticed for a lot of time. These were not given their basic civil rights. When after the judgment of 2018 of Singh Johar, these marriages were sorry, these same-sex was homosexual couples were allowed, homosexual unions were allowed. Your Lordship, within 2 years of that, within 2 years time period after the Navteej Singh Johar judgment, we see what a how quickly we have progressed to this point that the courts are discussing about the possibility of same-sex marriages within 2 years of that. So, Leadership, even though implementation might be an issue, but if we do not in the first place provide them the chance to the basic civil rights, we cannot we should not assume that there will be problems, and that could in the fear of this institution might not work, we cannot deny them the basic human rights of this institution. Your
Are
Lordship,
we are we as a Republic of Represento, as a state? Am I, even though I've ratified to the charter, right, the human rights charter, is it binding on this court?
Your Lordship, if you could just repeat the question, your voice was.
No worries. Can you hear me better?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. No, my question was, just because we have ratified the union of the human rights charter, right? We have signed. We are a party. We have signed and acknowledged the human rights charter. Is it binding on this court to accept the principles of the human rights charter?
Uh, Your Lordship, the Council submits that United Nations Charter, or since the Republic is a sovereign, Representative is a sovereign nation, and therefore any international charter, be it the United Nations itself, their charter cannot be enforced directly upon the Supreme Court. But the principles that have been laid down in the United Nations Charter and the principles that have been discussed in the fundamental rights of our Constitution are very similar. They have discussed precisely on the same point. and leadership in the previous instances. Even the Supreme Court of Republic India has relied on many of the judgments, like of the US court, or many of the judgments of the UK court. So the international laws, such as these judgments and charters, they have a very great persuasive value because they discuss upon the same ideal, the common global ideals of liberty, equality, fraternity, which reasonably cannot be disagreed upon, because these are the basic things which we as a nation and as a world, as a community, tend to achieve globally in the progress of time. Your Ladyship.
Understood, Council. You may proceed.
Ladyship.
Your Ladyship, before my co-counsel making prayer for these issues, I would like to put up my views as well as arguments before the question raised to my co-counsel. If your Ladyship allows me, shall I?
Sure, Council. Go ahead.
So your Ladyship, the first question that is asked by your Ladyship to my co-counsel, that it will create Pandora of questions, and it will bring into the limelight to the transgender people. Your Ladyship, I would like to mention Section 9 of the Transgender Protections of Act 2000.
Sorry. Before you proceed, Council, can you tell me what communities are included in LGBTQ? You keep Council keeps referring to transgender. So I wanna seek clarity on what you are referring to when you say LGBTQ. Is it only transgender?
No,
Like,
your
what is the
Ladyship,
council emphasizing?
it is including lesbians, gay, bisexuals, transgender, asexuals, as well as queer members also, your Ladyship, which is clearly defined into the same act, that is Section 9 of the Transgender Protections of Act. Your Ladyship, before moving further, I would like to mention one case of the Madhya Pradesh High Court, which comes to the Supreme Court of India, where the appointment of a very well-deserved female candidate, or we would say as a transgender candidate, is there. There is no option. There is no option of transgender in that section. And being a Pride member, being a Pride transgender, she asked for the third column after Mass Foundation judgment, that where is that column for the transgender is there, and that brave lady came to the Supreme Court of India. So your Ladyship, answer to your question, that yeah, that's true, that will bring up into the many questions when their identity will be questioned. They will bring it comes into the limelight that these people are getting special rights, but also if they are getting 10 disadvantages, we cannot forget about the 90 advantages that they are getting. Your Ladyship, the second answer to your question, if they are living together, your Ladyship, I would like to take you to the judgment of Rainbow Foundation versus Union of India. In that case, your Ladyship, Rainbow Foundation, that is NGO which is working for the rehabilitation of transgenders as well as women from the red light areas. Your Ladyship, in that judgment, we have even seen that the recognition of the transgender is the biggest problem that we have faced. Also, if we see the Jogwa communities, if you see the Hijra communities, your Ladyship, this has been taken into the consideration while decriminalization of 377 also, where it is seen that these sections have been used as the monotonous as well as arbitrary sections by the police authorities, where it has been used as an instruments of torture against these communities, your Ladyship. That's why we are contending to give them their civil rights as well as basic human rights, your Ladyship.
But council, I agree on that point. In council, the law is evolving. I understand, and we have checks and balances in the place. Today, if you want to enter, there are a lot of institutions. There are a lot of public forums. There are a lot of government sites and government applications which are open, which gives someone which gives a transgender a right to click, or a right to submit on the third option as a sexuality, which is transgender, right? But these liberations and these amendments are not against or not giving rise to disruption in peace or morality or anything, right? But something, and the state and the government are doing their bit for that, right, council? But the point, the prayer that the council is seeking, right, that same-sex marriage is something which is so averse in the community, which is so which is something which is disrupting the entire entire democracy. I mean, do you not think that, does the council not think that it's not a it's not something which is really in light of public in light of justice and public peace? Because I mean, today the government, today the court, everyone is doing everything they can to make sure that the other communities get their rights where it deserves, and no one is objecting to that. So how do you say that marriage comes within that bracket? To my knowledge, I mean, to my mind, it doesn't. Go ahead, counsel.
Your ladyship, first of all, in democracy, we have to think about the people at large. That is really very true and acceptable statement. But even the basic fundamental rights of an individual, we cannot forget. Secondly, coming about the rituals, like if there is a community Hindu which suggested that the marriage should be taken between males and females because their religious scriptures say so. So your ladyship, there might be a flaw because it is acceptable in our in the nationwide teacher book, that is NCRTs, that one religious text have thousands of interpretations. Your in that even we have found the examples like Shikhandani, like we have in Arthashastra, many other examples, and there where transgenders and their activities have been found. Even in our in real in our Hindu religion, the truly dated book, that is Mahabharata, even it supported your ladyship transgender marriage. Just that interpretation is not there. These are something which is not polluting the entire community, but this is something which is new induction to the community. That is a positive change to the community, broadening and opening the wide scope to the community, your ladyship.
Understood, counsel. Go ahead.
And now I would request my co-counsel, Mr. Kanishk Mishra, to proceed with the prayer.
Sure. Go ahead.
Leadership, in the light of the issues raised and the arguments that have been advanced, the authorities cited, it is humbly prayed before this honorable court that it may be pleased to declare the term persons in the Hindu Marriage Act 1955 and the Special Marriage Act 1954 so as to include people from the same sex, allow the civil rights to be granted to the members of the LGBTQIA plus community, and allow the persons of the LGBTQ plus community to be married as per the rituals and customs of their respective religions. Your Lordship, with this, the council would like to conclude his submissions on the above issues.
Understood, counsel.
Your ladyship, with all due permission of yours, and just if your ladyship can give me 2 more minutes, I would like to read in just 2 minutes two rebuttals that we have bring against the respondents through their memorials.
Go ahead, counsel.
Much obliged, your ladyship. Your ladyship, first of all, I would like to bring the attention on the locus standi of the respondents, that is through the article 226 clause B of the Indian Constitution as well as 331 of the Indian Constitution. The major question that I would like to ask to the petitioner, that is what is the locus standi of 226, that is writ petition as well as state to state dispute in this pertaining issue. The relevance of the Times of India judgment, that is a independent and monotonous newspaper. So how it is relevant to the Supreme Court of India as cited by respondents in their memorial. The third thing that I would like to bring into the notice of this honorable court, that is the judgment and the major issue framed by respondents, that is Ajay Lavania versus Shobha De. That is just first appeal, and they even not cited what exactly the judgment in that case is. So I would really like to ask respondents, could you please clarify on these points?
Noted, counsel. We'll have the respondents with us.
Much obliged, your
Much
ladyship.
obliged, Lordship.
Good. Neha, sorry, how do we do this now? Do I do the scores and submit the scores, or
Sorry, ma'am.
I think you're on mute, or am I on?
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yeah, ma'am. What were you saying?
So no, I was just saying. So I'll just submit the scores in that Google Doc, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And you can give the feedback to the team if you wish to.
Yes, of course, guys. Super job. Very nicely done. Okay, just couple of things like some places where I said that, as a state, why should I disrupt the majority and for a minority? I mean, the only thing is just you should have been more assertive, saying as the court and as a government, it's my fucking job to, kind of do whatever I want. I mean, to keep the peace, and that's exactly why the courts are in order. So only point there should have been just a little bit more assertive, but otherwise, great work, great memo, good arguments, and you guys really presented it well. So that's great. And yeah, I mean, hopefully you go ahead in the rounds. This was really nice. Anything you guys want to ask? Or all good? Everything good with your families?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
It's means your turn to us.
Yes, don't worry, no worries at all. Yeah, okay, then let me submit your scores. Okay,
Thank
all
you.
the best to you guys.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Thank
Okay,
you so
bye.
much.
Thank you
Bye,
so
ma'am.
much.
Bye.
Can we leave
Bye.
the room?
Yeah, you can leave the meeting. Thank you.
Thanks.